Statistics is a very important those want to become the data scientist, and in this video I will discuss statistics in complete. We have mean, mode, median, standard deviation, variance, quantile, something like that. So in this video I will cover complete part of the descriptive statistics.
We want to underline the pattern of the data. This type of analysis is only used to understand the data set under study, maybe a sample. So the measure of central tendency. The central tendency of the data can be distinguished by the measure of central tendency. First one, mean, median, mode, and quantile. One of the measures of central tendency. It is the most commonly used measure defined as the sum of all observations. It is based on all observation, but it cannot be calculated for the categorical data. That is a problem. It is the example. So firstly, I want to create the basic statistics we can perform with so many libraries. But if we are talking about the descriptive statistics, so we have a basic library, this statistics. After that, we will also consider and find out with the help of NumPy. So statistics as ST. ST is a small name or alias name for the statistics. Now I want to create the data. Thirty, 40, 50. So we have a data. Now we want to call the mean. So mean is the average of all value. St dot. So inside the st we have a function. Function name is mean. So it will automatically give the mean. Another side, we can also calculate the using that means descriptive statistics. If similar these things, we want to create. So class, if anybody have any problem, so please discuss me. like import NumPy as NP. So df np dot array, and I think you know very well how to create the array. And after that, mean is np dot to class. You can see all the details. In previous some classes, we have discussed the NumPy. So the related to array concept we have discussed, but today we are discussing about the statistics. So if someone want to use the statistics in Python, so we have some different library. We can also to find out some basic descriptive statistics with the help of statistics library. On the other hand, or on the other side, we can also calculate the mean or the some basic statistics functions with the help of NumPy. NumPy is also useful for the numerical Python or the array, and it is also support and provide some basic statistics function. Median. So it is a median. We know very well the median have two property. First one is even, then second one is odd. You can see the mean and the median find out with the help of statistics and NumPy. Now the question is that observation can be unimodal, bimodal. The merit of the mode, that is, it is not affected by the presence of outlier. Obviously, the mean affected by the outlier, but the mode will not affect by the outlier. And it can be calculated for numerical as well as categorical data. That is also the most useful. If you want to calculate the mode, so the most repetitive value. And one more thing, if someone want to calculate the basic descriptive, so we can also use the pandas. First one library is statistics, second one is NumPy, third one is panda. So panda library basically use for the EDA exploratory data analysis, to load data, to clean data we can also use some basic statistical functions. Like dt. You can see there is some repetitive value or not. So I want to check out. Perfect. So 65 is occur two times. But if someone want to calculate, so it is also provide the 65. But inside the NumPy, there is no function of the mode. So that is the drawback. Mode is not supported by NumPy. Any question class related to three things? We are just solving all these things with the help of three library. Someone we want to use basic statistics. So and we are just loading the data. So no need to perform or load some other library. So now you can see mode is 0 and 25. Inside this one actually I have repeat two values same, 65 and the 25, and the similar, yeah, but inside this it will give only the single value. So statistics is not so advanced for the some cases, but panda is uh, useful for the data also and as well as some descriptive statistics also. Got it? Okay. So it is the same, calculate the mode. From the data. Now quantile. So these are the value that divides the data set into equal part. So quantiles are also called as partition value. This value may not be. Now see the example. Like if we are talking about the quantile. So quantile divide the data set into four sections. First one is minimum, maximum. So quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will be split the data or divide the data into four sections. The first quantile Q1, the data such that 25% of data is below this one and 75% data above it. The second quantile Q2 is the median as the divides the data in two equal halves. Obviously both sides equal. And when we are talking about the third quantile Q3, divide the data such as 75% of data lies below Q3 and 25% of data is just a reverse of the Q1. Now see the practical. We have the data. Inside the data, if we want to create using by panda, so panda we have a series function. So quantile 25, 50 and the 70. So it will like 212. So 212 less than. So there are 25% of data. 275 less than there are 50% of data. 304.5, sorry, 302.5. So we have 75% below data from this value. So how we can calculate? You can see inside the statistics we have only this function: mean, median, mode. So it will automatically divide the data into three quantile. But similar, if we want to use np.quantile, pass the data, and to pass how many data you want to split. It is a 25% data. 50% of data, you can see all the value. And if we have some nan value, nan, that means null value. So I will discuss later what is null when we are discussing the exploratory data analysis. So it is useful in statistics and it is useful in NumPy and also useful the panda. So it is similar this one 0.25 something like that. 25% data is this one and 75% data. Yeah. Actually, the Panda is a very sound library in Python. When we are talking about for the EDA, exploratory data analysis. And what is the EDA? Like when we load some external file in Python. So it is my upcoming library. After the statistics, I will discuss the Panda. So the Panda basically used to load data to clean some values, some duplicates values, some null values. So the data manipulation, all things we can perform by the Panda. But when we are performing some basic data refining data pre-processing task, so if we want to use some descriptive statistics, so no need to use the NumPy or statistics library. Inside the Panda, we have some basic statistical functions available. Yeah, and some advanced level statistics I will discuss with the SciP library, scientific library, later, because now we are discussing about only the descriptive statistics. So the descriptive function is mostly available in all the libraries. So we can also find out the variance is a difference between the mean value. So how we can calculate? So it is the variance. That means the difference between the mean value. But the variance is a square of all the difference value. The standard deviation is a square root of the variance. So it is the standard deviation. Standard deviation is a square root of this one. Now I want to discuss so the population and it is a sample variance. And similar, what is a sample variance? Sample or population? Anybody want to say what is sample and population? Standard deviation. Okay, good. So population data means complete data set, or sample data is a subset of the population data. Or you can say that the part of the population data which you want to analyze. So these things are available inside the statistics library. And similar, if I want to calculate here, so inside the NumPy we have a var, not the variance. And inside the NumPy we have the function name is STD. And if someone want to use, if we want to work with population sample, so we have to use this particular library. Now try to complete this. Including with NumPy and Panda. We are talking about to find out the same. Standard deviation is, and someone asked me, can I use here? So we have completed all the basic standard deviation. Now come back to the theory part. So it is the calculate the quantiles, daily salary, series, deciles. Decile divide the dataset into 10 equal parts. The first decile D1 divide the data such as 10% of data is below D1 and 90% above this. The fifth decile divide the data into two equal parts. So quantile is something like that. So consider daily salary 15 worker and obtain the value D1, D5 and D9. So we depend on us. In the quantile, we can divide the data 10%, 20, 30, 40. It depends on us. Decile into 10 part. And if you are talking about the quantile, it will divide the data into three parts. Like dt dot So 10% below values, you can see 25. So below 25, there are 10% value. Quantile split data into three parts. Got it, class? Any question, any problem which you want to discuss with me related to this one? Only when we want to work the descriptive statistics. When we want to work with an array, and sometimes we want to use the single statistics function while we are creating the array, like I want to find out the mean value. So if I want to calculate the mean value, so suddenly I think, sir, actually the statistics library should be used. No need to use the statistics library. We can just use inside the NumPy. So because the NumPy, the main and the main advantage and the purpose for array, but along that it is the additional features of the NumPy. And when we are working with data, to load the data, and suddenly someone asks me, like, sir, can we calculate the salary average? So suddenly I think, sir, statistics library should be used there. So pandas say no. If you are using the panda, so inside the panda we have some basic statistics function, we can still to use them. So it depend on the situation, what kind of the work we are doing. So inside that we can use this function. So that is the reason actually I'm just covering these three things, because most of the data scientists, when we are working with data, so can we use anything? So like in future you will not get confused. So like, sir, tell me only the statistic library, so only give the lectures related to the NumPy, the array. So no statistics. So I'm discussing the all possibilities of the statistics, and one and more super library I will discuss later. It is a super library. All the stats functions are there. SciPy library, scientific pi. Yeah. So it is especially and the main intention for the, yeah. 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 Thank you. So it is a decile. It depends on us how many value we want to split them. Now percentile. Percentile divide the data into 100 equal part. The first percentile P1 divide the data such as 1% of data is below P1. Like 99% about data. So how we can calculate the percentile? So it is similar. Consider the daily salary of 15 workers and obtain the value for P10, P50, and P99. From the example of deciles, we can see that P10, D1, and P50 are equal D5. So it depends on us if we want to quantile the data 10%, 50%, 99%, 5%. So it depends on us. function same, that means quantile, and we can say that the percentile. Now we want to discuss the measure of dispersion. It is the technique that summarizes the variation in the data points. So we have also talk about the variance and the standard deviation. So it is the technique that summarizes the variance in the data points. So quantile 50. So you can see what is the middle value, that is median. Median is 50 and the 50% quantile is also same coincidentally. So 50 is also the median and 50 is also the quantile. So there are the 50% value below the 50, but still it is same. So when the dispersion less the set of observation, the reliability of the measure. Obviously, when the value so many less than as per the observation, and it does not provide a proper idea about the variation in the data. Obviously, like take an example. Like if we have an array and the array we have some value, we want to find out some difference, some maximum minimum. So inside the NumPy we have the function name maximum and minimum. So the difference is 173. So it is the range. And similar, if we want to calculate the same sales B, so still the difference are same. So most of the days the sales is between 300 and the 400, near the minimum sale. And most of the days the sales is greater than 400. So here sales A maximum minimum, sales B maximum and the minimum. So however the variation in the sales is different. Sales, like whenever you want to minus the particular thing, similar if I want to create here, difference of the minimum, the maximum values are same. But still difference are same, minimum and the maximum. So variance is measure the spread the observation from the mean. So how the data is far away from the mean? It is defined as the arithmetic mean of square of deviation calculated from the mean. So how the value far away from the mean, the value of the ith element and total number of observation, it's a variance. The variance is a square. Sorry, a square. Yeah, obviously. Now, np dot where I have already discussed. Now, similar I want to discuss sales A. You can see it is the variance. You can see the variance are different. That is my question. If you find out the minimum and the maximum, so coincidentally the range are same. But when you want to find out, you are saying the data same. No. So it gives the variance is different. That is the question. That is the dispersion of the data. So the higher the variance, the more the data is spread out. So if the variance is high, so you can imagine the data is higher spread. So data is not nearby to the mean. Now the standard deviation. So it is obtained by taking the positive square root of the variance. Obviously, it is a square root of the variance. Now, the similar to calculate the NumPy or any. So the variance of the standard deviation square root is 55. So still the standard deviation is also different. Class, are you getting my point? What exactly I'm saying? Rahil, Srishay, Vijay and Vikas. Yeah, perfectly. And also please try those questions which I have shared into the chat box related to your assignments and some interview questions of the SQL and the BI tool, Power BI. Perfect. So now calculate the standard deviation. So standard deviation tell about how the observation are spread from the mean, obviously. So how many values are spread out far away from the mean, and mean is a average of all the values. Now coefficient of variation. So it is the relative measures of standard deviation. It is calculated as like coefficient of variance, CV. That means standard deviation divided by mean. So it is used to compare variation of two sample, always expressed in percentage. Like if we have a two sample data and two different standard deviation, so we want to compare them. So the coefficient of variation. Like suddenly I took the sample data and we are just analyzing. So it is used to compare two variation. Variation of two or more sample always expressed in percentage. Something like that. If we have the salary, expected salary of employee at location 568, standard deviation, the salary at location is 20. That is the difference. Now the expected salary and the standard salary. So the standard deviation divided by the expected salary, multiply this one. So you can see the 3%. The company has office in two cities. Consider the information about the salary in both the office. Compare the coefficient. I repeat my question. So a particular company have the office in two city, city 1 and the city 2. So when we are want to compare the both cities salary. So first one is the standard deviation divided by expected salary. Second is standard deviation divided by expected salary. So the CV for location is lower than for location B. So there is a more consistency in the salary of the employee in location A. With some advanced function I will discuss my upcoming class.